Blazin High.
I've noticed that when I'm drinking, I sometimes have a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of complex.
Liz Witcher. I've been in Kunming since 2018, but I've been in China since 2014.
Now, for those of you that are unfamiliar with the 19th century novel, or the 1990s musical that is based off of that said 19th century novel, congratulations, means you probably had friends, partied, drank, maybe even had sex in high school. I did one of those things. But that's not the thing I did.
I am an English teacher in an international program.
Because I'm going to be honest, I haven't read the book either. I have, however, committed the musical to heart because, again, I only had friends in high school. I didn't do much else other than that.
I graduated from Michigan State in 2014 with a degree in Chinese language and culture, as well as a degree in social relations and policy. And then in 2018, I graduated from the Hopkins Hojing Center with a master's degree in international studies, focusing on Chinese studies.
Unlike my musical counterparts, however, it takes more than one shot for me to go from sober Liz to drunk Liz. In fact, it takes usually a smorgasbord of shotgunning, beer chugging, necking Jaeger from the bottle because drunk Liz is a classy broad.
So I moved to China in 2014, and before then I thought I hated comedy, actually. I had no interest in it because most of the mainstream comedians, I found that their jokes sometimes hit lower rather than punching up.
Now you might be asking yourself, well, Liz, aren't most people drunk, just exaggerated versions of themselves? Yes, they are. And there are some qualities that drunk Liz has that are exaggerated versions of sober Liz. For example, sober Liz is loud. Drunk Liz somehow manages to be even louder. Sober Liz likes beer. Drunk Liz fucking loves beer. And she also likes challenging anyone within range to any kind of drinking contest. Beer chugging, shotgunning. Her favorite is a beer bong, which, if you're not an American, is a funnel that you attach a hose to and then chug as much beer from. Drunk Liz likes to relive her university glory, and she'll go after that no matter where she is.
So it wasn't until I was in China that I had time to really explore the internet, and that's when I discovered comedians that were more political in nature, the comedians I didn't like, they punched down, whereas I like comedians that punch up, that critique society or make more play on words. So I'd say it's probably 2015, I started watching This Isn't Happening, and from there just kind of spiraled into finding comedians that I like.
If sober Liz was the pilot of her own ship, or of her own airplane, then she would make this kind of announcement welcoming passengers aboard. Good morning. Welcome to Liz Airlines. We'd like to remind you to keep all of your emotions between the 4 and 7 range. Don't get too sad, don't get too happy. Keep it controlled, because that's how we like to live, no surprises. Also, please remember to not tell any romantic interest you might like them. We like to keep this forthright as possible. Mystery, calm, controlled. Thank you, and have a pleasant flight. That's sober Liz. Drunk Liz, however, sometimes hijacks the pilot and takes over and yells shit like, fuck living between 4 and 7, live 1, cry if you want to, live 10, laugh, hop through the streets, it's fine. You like that man? You saw that man once? You think that he talked to you? Go tell him you love him.
My favorite comedian of all time is Kyle Kinane. I remember I was home listening to the Comedy Channel, and his sketch about watching a person eating pancakes on a plane next to him I almost crashed the car because I was laughing so much.
Drunk Liz, however, never deals with the fallout of that. She might land the plane, she might crash it into the ground. It's sober Liz that the next day has conversations that go like this. So Liz, about that conversation we had 2 nights ago. Oh, fuck. Huh?
Again, I think it kind of stems back to moving to China. I think it gives you space to explore things that you never would have done before. And at the time I was living in Kunming, and there's a poetry group that met, and so I think I really started performing by going to this poetry group. And while I do write poetry, I prefer to write short comedic observations, I guess, about life. And so I would get up and read those about once every week. And I thought that if I was given a platform, given a space, that I could try stand-up comedy. It's something that I really like too. So about 3 years later, Barfly started their open mic focusing on stand-up comedy. I remember Casey did it once, and I thought, all right, next time, fuck it, I'm gonna do it.
Hey Liz, I didn't know you liked me like that. I too feel this way. And sober Liz is like, fuck this. Drunk Liz overstepping her bounds once again. Gotta turn this friendship boat back into harbor.
Friends, Kunming's a small circle, so I'd say it's been mostly positive, but I think it's easy to make your friends laugh. So I think one of the things that I want to try for myself is to write jokes that aren't necessarily Kunming specific, but something that if, say, I were ever to go to Chengdu, which is a bigger comedy scene, Shenzhen, or any comedy scene where people don't know me, the material would hit just as hard as people that have no background knowledge about me.
I was also trying to live out the American study abroad dream, which meant trying to consume as much beer legally as possible before being sent back to the puritanical drinking laws of the United States, where I would not be allowed to legally consume alcohol for another 2 years. And so because of this, I spent 2 weeks in Sichuan, but I don't know where we went.
I definitely think comedy is culture specific. I think in China there's an expat culture, and I think that the stuff I do speaks more to the expat experience in China, that perpetual other.
And that's how I ended up on a drinking bender that started from 8 p.m. Saturday, went through brunch margaritas the next day, back onto some random dude's couch, 2 p.m., just listening to guys hanging out. At which point one guy looks at his watch and goes, oh shit, I'm supposed to be at Rugby right now. Now, Drunk Liz, ever the orator, looks at him and goes, I like sports. That's what she said. That's what Drunk Liz chose to say, not rugby. That's cool. How do you play it? Is it fun? Not rugby. Sweet. Can I join? Also not, hey, I'm looking for a volleyball team. Brought my shoes with me and everything. Do you know of anyone? No, at this moment in her life, she goes, I like sports.
But I try to be very careful when I'm designing jokes to write jokes that, I was telling Sandra earlier today actually, when I was in Xiamen, I did read one of my essays in a stand-up comedy like atmosphere, and one of the comedians had commented saying, well, we all live in China, and if we're going to make fun of China, try not to do it in a derogatory way. And I think that's something when I'm trying to speak to an expat crowd, it's easy to make a this is China kind of joke, and I want to push past that because I think it's an easy, I think it's a cheap laugh, I just think it's a disrespectful laugh a lot of the times. So really try to turn that, China is so different from where I come from, but put the onus on me of not understanding rather than on China for being its own way. And so that's something I try to challenge myself to do in comedy.
And in the United States, she's a girl cat. In the United States, we fix the girl cats way too early, I'm sure, but they never go through heat. And so I've never experienced a cat in heat before I had my cat Goose. For any American in here or any person who has never experienced a cat in heat, they sound something like this. Because they're super horny. They're essentially saying, fuck me! Fuck
start. From there, I went to Michigan State. My whole family's from Michigan. My parents met at Michigan State, actually. So I went there because I wanted to be a big basketball fan, believe it or not. Not to play, but just to watch.
Now, if you're a human woman, you know that periods happen about once a month. And I figured, great, I'm about to go on vacation. I can't get her fixed now, so I'll just leave it to the next month. That's not how cats and heat work. Cats and heat are on a continuous 10-day cycle until they get fucked by a tomcat and impregnated. I did not tell this little fun fact to my friend who had decided that she would stay in my apartment because it was next to the bars. Drunk list does make an appearance, my bad. Because it was next to the bars, I figured she'll be fine. Cat's chill now. I'm gonna go to Xinjiang for 2 weeks. I'll be back later.
Currently cooking is a hobby. I took a break from stand-up. It's hard to take a break from something that just started. But I took a break from stand-up for about a year after first performing because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I felt I had hit a dead end with the jokes. So tonight is kind of a test run to see if I really do want to spend this much time doing it and spending more time on it.
My friend's name's Mila. So she comes in, text her, just make sure there's food and water. She's a super chill cat, don't worry about it. I get a text a few days in. Hey Liz, Goose is being more vocal than usual? Is that normal? Well, I'm in Xinjiang at this point, not coming home, not cutting my vacation short. So I go, yeah, totally normal, don't worry about it. Please make sure she has food and water. A couple of days later, I get another text. So, Liz, woke up to Goose's ass in my face. You sure everything's fine? Should I take her to the vet? No, don't worry, just make sure that she has food and water. I'll be back in a couple of days. Half a day later. Liz, Goose is acting real weird. Are you sure she's fine? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Please don't leave. She needs food and water for the next couple of days. A day later, I get a panicked text. Liz, I think Goose is trying to fuck me. You know what? She's not trying to fuck you. She wants you to fuck her.